In 2008, everyone's favorite game, known as Call of Duty World at War, it actually got released on PS3, Xbox 360, and Nintendo Wii, and also on the PC, in which it became everyone's favorite game out there, and everyone's been clamoring for a remaster to be coming out as well. But here's the thing about that game, right? A lot of people doesn't seem to know that there's actually a PlayStation 2 version, World at War Final Front. I've talked to a lot of people that I've seen all the time about this game. Apparently, no one's ever heard about the game or knew they existed. It came out in the same year in 2008 for PS2, as it was made by Rebellion Games. They used some of the same characters from the original game, but there's no Russian campaign, no multiplayer, and no zombies. There's only left. There are 13 or 14 missions in the game, and there's a British European campaign that you can also play in the game as well. Roebuck and Pulaski are also in the game, but instead of one of them dying, they actually survive, which is the differences. The story is slightly the same, but there are so many differences that you guys will probably notice when playing the game. Most of the cutscenes are also quite different. And there were some of the assets in the game that were reused from Call of Duty 3 into the game. But there were new features such as sprinting. Yeah, I think that's about it. Sprinting is probably like the newest feature in that game, considering Call of Duty 3 was the last game to come out for the PS2 before this one. But of course, you can't tell that you're sprinting, but if you see yourself go faster, then that tells you something. As any usual Call of Duty game, they'll put you in a training thing, which will have you train and know how to play the game. Once you complete the training, then you'll come to the first level. Well, of course, you do go against the Japanese army, in which, well, it does have its World of War weapons as usual, like the flamethrower and some of the guns. The only problem with the gameplay is that it can be a bit frustrating at times because the artificial intelligence isn't that smart enough. Sometimes your own buddy can push you out of the way from cover and get you killed, or that the enemies just don't even care, or the good guys just doesn't care at times. Again, this is the only Rebellion game that came out in 2008, and this is the only Call of Duty game that Rebellion has ever made. IGN is like the only critic that actually reviewed this game, believe it or not, giving it a 4.5 out of 10, which I kind of disagree with, but I can understand the frustrations that they have with the game. I would just give it a slightly higher rating than that, but it's whatever. It's IGN, you know how they are. They used the Asura engine instead of the normal Call of Duty engines they've always been using. Believe it or not, the game actually came out on the same day. No. Believe it or not, the game came out one day before it even came out for PS3 and 360 and that. Which I'm talking about the original version of Call of Duty World at War. Again, this game has a slightly different story as opposed to whatever. And this game is less violent, which gives it a T rating instead of an M rated. I knew about this game because I always see it in the storefronts, but no one's ever mentioned to me about this version of the game until I played it. It is very cheap to pick up, so if you guys ever see it in a storefront or anywhere else, it's very cheap to pick up, so I say give it a try if you guys want to try to play this game. Now, there are some missions in the British campaign as well, like the tank missions, for example. But you do play as different people in the British campaign. Well, when it comes to that one, like I said, it has a completely different story, and it's nothing related to the Russian one that they use in World at War, the original version that everyone loves to play. It can actually be disappointing as there's only like one mode for this game that is just a campaign, no zombies, no multiplayer, no nothing. I don't think there's even any unlockables either for this game. But if you guys are just there for single player, then I think this is a game you guys should look out for. In which it just really does play your typical Call of Duty game. What's strange to me is that most of the people in the YouTube comments actually seem to actually heard about this game. But I've actually known some people that I've always talked about Call of Duty with, and they actually never heard of this game, which is quite odd to me. I even talked to a GameStop employee about this game. He never even heard about it either, which kind of tells you something. I don't think this game actually had any sort of promotion, like another game I might actually cover pretty soon, which also came out on PS2. But I think the game looks pretty good for its PS2 counterpart, despite it having some flaws in the game, like the artificial intelligence that most people complain about. But its gunplay kind of plays the same as usual. But again, it's your typical Call of Duty game. I think Activision thought, why don't we just give them one last PlayStation 2 game, in case no one's ever owned a PS3 yet, which I do think is a good idea in sort of terms like that. But again, it's not a Treyarch game, but it's more like a downgraded Treyarch type of game when it comes to World of War. Just because of how violent it was in World of War, this one is a bit toned down, considering that it's gotten a T rating, like I said before. But again, there are 13 missions for you guys to complete, each with their own objectives as well. But my advice for you guys is stick to cover, because sometimes you can't even tell if you're taking the most damage or not. There's no indicator whether you're taking too much damage or not, because they all look the same to me. But again, you will need to rely on cover most of the time, because you have no idea what's going to happen. But the aim assist in the game does help pretty much when it comes to shooting up the guys. Sometimes, this could be my experience, but sometimes my bullets may not hit someone at certain cover points, but somehow I would be able to get them somehow later on, despite my issues with the game. But again, I think if you guys put down the flaws and look aside that, I think you might have a good time with the game. What do you guys think about this game? Did you guys ever heard about this game, or did you just play the original PS3, Wii, and 360 version?